you.
All right. Why do some plants grow better in the shade than in the sun? Because some plants actually need a lower light. They can't take the sun. You'll notice some plants you keep in the sun and the leaves actually burn. They will burn and
Like
they can't take it.
hostas will burn.
Hostas will burn. There are some plants, most plants, that you can put in the shade that will do fine in the sun, like the stilby. This area here, and it's too bad that it's cloudy, because this area here, this is all shade all the time in this corner, even when the sun's out, because of these trees here. So this is all shade. Right now we don't have anything growing there, but you could put there is a bleeding heart over there somewhere. Bleeding heart, hostas will grow there in full shade, and a stilby, but they won't be as big as they are with a little bit of sun, because even though they're shade plant, they do need some sun. And there's actually 4 or 3 different levels of shade. There's light shade, and light shade are areas that is shaded, but it has sun. It's brightness. So like filtered or dappled sunlight, like coming through, like just branches would be dappled light shade. So they're not in full sun, but they're not in full shade either. So that would be light shade. Partial or medium shade is when the direct sun rays are blocked from an area for most of the day. Now, Barb, you have a lot of that at your house, so I can't wait to go to Barb's house because she has the perfect shade.
I have perfect example of everything that Judy's talking
of
about.
Partial shade. And she has a lot of full morning sun, but only till like 1 o'clock.
Right.
So the whole rest of the day, most of the rest of the day is all shade.
And the
they grow
afternoon sun
fine.
is harder and stronger, so they can take the morning sun a little bit better than they can take the afternoon sun.
And then full shade lasts all day. It's all shade. Like on the north side of your house, it's all shade all day long. So that would be full shade. That's no direct sunlight that reaches the ground any time of the day. And I'm sure everyone has a little bit of that in the north side of their barn or house or whatever. And there's a few plants that do grow. Lily of the valley, those little trout lilies. Does anybody have those little trout lilies in the, you see them in hedges? And they only grow in full shade. If you cut some limbs to make, a little bit of light, they'll die. They won't. Wow. And they're so pretty. They come out right in the spring, in the very early spring.
I don't have any of those.
We have like a little bit of shrubs in the back that's all shaded, and they're just real beautiful. So some plants need the shade. Another good example of shade, telephone poles. They grow telephone poles up north in the UP. There's some state land, and it has a whole grove of trees, and they get really tall and really skinny because they're grown so close together. Like this grove right here, and look at how there's no lower branches. The shade has made these trees grow all the way up, straight up, just like when you grow sunflowers in the house too early and they're leggy and tall because they're reaching for the sun. That's how the telephone poles grow. And then they just cut them down, and they're just one straight old like that. They're just
I'm glad I came today. I learned something.
Now, had you grown those trees all like 10 feet or 20 feet apart, then they'd have branches. They'd be shorter, healthier, but they don't want that, so they're grown. They're grown straight up, close together.
That's very interesting.
And the thing I think most people want to know about shade is, what can I plant there? What will grow? It depends what you want. Do you want color? If you want flowers, you're gonna have to have a little partial shade. If you want just hostas or lily of the valley, they'll take full shade, but they will not be as nice as if they do get some sun. So I actually found some flowers and herbs too. Don't forget about herbs when you're planting your garden. Anything, sun or shade. Herbs are just like flowers. There are some that will grow in the shade and some that will grow in full sun. And these are not the common things you think about when you think of shade plants. Like the hellebore, I wouldn't have thought to plant that at all. The corabels, I have these in sun. I didn't even know they grew in shade. So that was a surprise, and that was number 2 on this list. And I think I got this list off of Wikipedia or something. It was, I don't know how reliable it is, but these are definitely shade plants. So, but corabels, that was actually a surprise to me because I did not know they grew in shade. And there you go. There's another example of a shade plant that grows well in sun. And too, something that people don't know, they're not aware of, is if your plant's not doing well, move it. I've moved tulips while they were in bloom. You don't have to wait till the fall. Yes, if you dig the tulips up with a whole hunk of dirt and put them over where someplace else, they'll be just fine. If you take them out and with a bare bulb, then no, they're going to stress them. But if you're, like right now, if I wanted to move those astilbes, I would just dig the whole thing up with a ton of dirt around them and move them. And then see if they do well someplace else. So whatever you plant doesn't mean that you have to keep it there forever. Move it around if it's not going to grow well.
It's fun to move them around too.
It is fun to move them around.
And see how they improve.
It is fun to do that. And I had for years black-eyed Susans right in the front there, my front garden that I see out my kitchen window and that you see in the driveway. This is like my main flower garden. And they were there forever and ever, and I'm not crazy about them, and I really wasn't. And then it dawned on me 12 years later, I don't have to keep those there. What if I move them? And I put them in the way back, because they're so bright orange, and you can see them now from, the house. And now I can put other fun stuff there. I don't know what took me so long to move those. So anyway, don't be afraid to move things. So who else, does anybody have any other good suggestions that they've had good luck with shade plants any place? Not really? Okay. Ferns are good.
Ferns will actually grow in some sun too if you, but they stress. They burn
in
also.
The sun. Okay.
Yeah, but they'll grow. They'll do all right, but not as well as in the shade.
As in the shade.
Yeah, and they need lots of moisture.
And that's another good point, moisture. A lot of the plants that are for shade, like a bleeding heart, for example, and if you put that in full sun, but you water it all the time, it's going to make a difference too. They'll need more water.
It's huge difference
to do better in the sun, where it's naturally moist and cooler in the shade. So that would make sense. But if there's something you really love and you don't have enough shade, water it. Water it as much as you can. That makes a big difference. Okay, impatiens.
She must water them every day.
Twice a day.
Does she really?
There's a new variety out because my husband's family owns a greenhouse, and they're called sun patients, and they are bred because so many people want them in the sun, and they're bred, and they're supposed to be really good. They look beautiful.
Yeah, they are. They're a pretty flower.
The begonias are supposed to be a shade flower too, but they do all right with some sun. I have some planted they get sun all afternoon and they're fine. But I water them a lot.
Okay, that makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference.
It really does.
Yeah.
And I just found out too, who had that lobelia the other day? Was I with you? I was with somebody and they had a beautiful pot of that blue, those tiny blue flowers that you have to water all the time or they die. I always thought they were full sun, but they're actually full shade. Well, and it was too late by the time I moved them. The
rabbits ate all my lobelia in my pot.
Right.
Yeah, they helped themselves to a lot of things in my garden this year.
Yeah, rabbits.
It was a bad year for rabbits.
Lots of
They ate my onions.
Oh, you're in the woods.
I have a section that it's called Shaker Creek, and I just started from there, and it's one from the other, and mostly hostas. Got a couple of stilbies, but I think I'm going to have to move because they're crowding out.
And my
Okay.
sister gave me some fern. And every spring I said, oh my God, that fern is just going to take over. And then the hostas come up because I got them planted according to height. And the hosta says, no, move over. Coming through, you know.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of, you're just kind of.
They're competing. Yeah, but
Okay,
the
that's-
ferns, you if you get one or two in a couple years, you're going to have
Yeah,
about
yeah.
12 of them
Yeah.
at least. They multiply like
But my
crazy.
stilby is looking worse every year, so I'm thinking,
Mine-
this
I don't
fall I
have-
gotta move it because I think it's just getting too crowded. The
Okay.
hostas are such a.
I need some
aggressive
astilbe. I don't have a lot of that, and I like those.
I do
gotta-
too, but I don't
need
have the
some
best
more of
luck
those.
with the Stilby. I don't know why. and
I
I've
don't
been
either.
moving them
I
around.
don't either. I've
know.
lost more than one.
Yeah, I know, me too. But this garden is actually perfect for hostas, and we should
Yeah.
plant some more.
That's
around.
a great hosta bed right
Yeah,
there.
really it is.
How
And I
many
don't know
would you
what
like?
used to be there. Right, what's that?
How many would you like?
Oh,
That's what I'm gonna do.
a lot.
How about the primrose? That primrose? I can probably bring you 100.
Really? Primrose?
Yeah,
Oh,
that big.
I'd love some of those.
Hey, after getting to your house, we're pulling right over into mine, and
Yeah.
you're gonna clean it right out.
Yeah, we
Um,
used to plant exchange in the
We
fall.
are. We're having one in September.
September,
On a
okay.
Saturday in September, and I'll get that date for you. But we are going to have one because we had such a great success.
We
with
had
that-
so much fun
one.
that day. It was great. Everybody brought almost everybody brought different things, so we had a huge selection of things.
It was really
great.
good. There was a man that came and he didn't have anything, and he looked at all the plants and he went home and he got his tomato plants and he brought
Yeah.
them in to exchange. I know, that was really fun. Just a word on this bugleweed here, this ajuga. That is very invasive.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty, but it is so invasive. But I left it in here anyway because it is good in the shade. But my mom had a little bit around her thing, and within 5 years, the entire sod was all covered with nothing but the bugleweed. And it is pretty, so if you want something to spread, and actually, I should bring some of that in here.
Which
That'd
would be great,
perfect.
like if you had a back area or a wooded area that you just
Yeah.
wanted,
to let
just
it
for
go
a splash
naturalized.
of color. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It's better than
It's
weeds.
real short. It's probably this at its highest, only like 8-10 inches.
I need some of that too.
Really? Well, I'll bring that for the plant exchange then, because that's a good one. I
Yeah.
didn't even think
And they
about
got
that.
this
I
cool
usually
shade,
don't because it's
yeah.
invasive. I hate
So I
to
guess
trade
I could
anything
move
that's
that.
invasive.
But
with
if you tell
people,
people ahead of time that it's invasive and warn
then they
them,
know.
then they can plant it appropriately too.
flower all summer or is it just
No. No, it doesn't flower. It flowers in the spring for a long time, but then the foliage is red. It's like a reddish color all the time. So it's really pretty all the time.
You have
So-
that in your yard?
I do. I have it in the way back where it can just go
Next
wherever.
time I come over, I want to.
Okay.
show
Well, you
it
can
to
all
me.
see it because the pruning thing is at my house. So if you come the 24th, you
Yeah.
can see you'll get some. I'll give you some then. All right. So what we plan on doing? Does anyone have any questions? Does anybody, Barb, you want to throw anything in or?
No, just
Okay.
come over, walk around, and
Okay.
enjoy it.
And then Barbara's just going to take it from here. We're going to go to her house,
Yep.
and she can just explain her garden, and we'll do that.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny.
They get this area does get a little bit of sun. This does get sun. It actually does get sun. The front ones especially. It does get some sun. They call it. I forgot what they called it. I forgot what they called it. Ever blooming or ever something. Ever something. I forgot. In the front there. When we moved here, I was looking, to nurseries and stuff, and I saw this. It was on, I call it Death Row. It was on Death Row. It was at one of the nurseries, and it was $5. And it was, a stick about this big, and it was all crooked and stuff. I thought, oh, what the hell, $5. Yeah, $5. I'll plant it. Look at it now. Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
And oaks are
Look
hard
how
to
straight
grow.
it is, too.
It's straight, it's an arrow, and that trunk was so crooked.
It's happy here.
It could be a telephone pole.
It could be.
And just something. Steve loves these trees.
This one is bright yellow in the spring. The
Okay.
other one is green.
Like this.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
What's that leaf? That's beautiful.
I think it's going to be. I think those flowers are going to be orange. I think aren't the dark the purple.
The darker the leaf, the darker the flower generally.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm really anxious to see.
You take this out in the fall, right?
Yeah, you gotta dig them up in the fall.
I love that leaf. It looks tropical.
Yes,
what I
yeah.
saw them
Well,
do
I've
it
always
then?
just had the green ones, the green leaves with
Right,
the red
that's all I
flowers,
have.
and
We had a 25th night for the 25th late anniversary. They made a luau, and they took those leaves and put them on a table.
oh,
It looked just like
Like a
from
tropical.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I know. That's a good idea.
yeah, this was really beautiful. It's got pink and yellow honeysuckle things on it, but it's done blooming.
9,
It's about
that's
9.
a 6
I'm going to
feet,
say
yeah.
it's 9 feet.
7, 8.
I'm going to say it's 9 feet.
Yeah.
Now you going out of
When
there?
they do that, they go to seed. I hate that.
That is the stupidest looking thing
I
I've
cut them
ever
off. I
seen.
can't stand it.
Should I just cut it
I
off?
cut it. I cut them all the time.
All right. I think it's awful. I don't want it like that. I want to. I always call them cotton
You're supposed to pronounce it on different.
petunias or this garden. I apologize. It's like disgusting.
Ferns look kind of tropical too.
Like that, you know what? That is just what I need to do in the fall is I need to cut a piece of that off and put it someplace else because it's not getting any bigger. It's staying the same size that it's been for the last few years. I started a new little planting over there. Like I need another garden.
Yeah.
I need something else to eat and take care of. But that's all right. Look at
Fun to start them.
You'll have to move the fairy over to the fairy garden when
I
I make
will.
your furniture.
I can't. I'll have to get another fairy because
Okay.
that's been there so long and it's like part of my.
Okay.
nasty state.
Okay, so basil.
Ooh, I think it's an herb. I don't know.
Italian parsley.
Oh, I'm just writing them down.
Allspice.
Oh, that's a tricky one.
Caraway. Anise. Cloves. Just tell me to stop if you need more time. Saffron. Cayenne. Paprika.
Holy cow.
I know, there's about 10 more. We're halfway done. Bay leaf. Cardamom. Nutmeg. Sage. Cumin. Dill. Chives. And here's 3 bonus questions. Coriander, garlic, and chervil.
I think I got it.
All right, ready? Basil. Oh, first of all, according to I don't know what my the American Spice Trade Association. The term spice and herb have both been used to describe parts of the plants that are used to enhance the flavor or taste of food. Herbs have been used to augment cosmetics, preserve foods, and cure illnesses. Spices and herbs consist of flower, buds, bark, seeds, leaves, many parts of the plants. Over the time, the definitions for spice and herbs have changed. It used to be that the seeds were spice and the plant, the foliage, was the herb. So, according to the American Spice Trade Association, that's what I'm going off of. All right, so basil is an herb. Italian parsley is an herb. Allspice is a spice. Caraway is a spice. Anise is a spice. Cloves, spice. Saffron, spice. Cayenne, spice. Paprika is a spice. Bay leaf is an herb. Cardamom is a spice. Nutmeg is a spice. Sage is an herb. Cumin is a spice. Dill is an herb. Chives, herb. And bonus, what'd you put for coriander? Both. That's a trick question.
Both.
Both, an herb
Then we're
and
both
a spice. And garlic?
Herb.
Neither.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bulb. It's neither a herb or a spice.
I would say chervil is an herb.
Chervil's an herb, yes. All right, so how'd you do?
You went wrong or right?
got 'em
Or maybe
all-
they're equal.
I got them all right.
Did you really?
I wrote them down as you were telling them. Good cheater. Oh, don't put that on TV.
Hey, you're on. I can't help it.
All right, we have a winner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
I think I got,
I actually, if I hadn't cheated, I would have got, well, I wouldn't have got that bonus one right about the coriander.
I didn't get
and garlic.
coriander right. I did get garlic right, but not coriander.
I have 5 wrong, and I work for
Because
McCormick.
I
So.
wouldn't have
I was thinking coriander was the seed.
But these are, I mean, I know these are all herbs, they're spices. And dill is an herb.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And chives is an herb.
So yeah, some of them
Sage is
were
an herb.
bay leaf, the leaf. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was good.
And then, have you guys ever heard of a tussie mussy? Have you ever made one? Want to make one?
Sure.
Because this is also a test, but it's not a test. It's just to see what you're going to pick to put in your tussie mussy, and then we're going to go through the list of language of flowers and see what it means, what you picked. So poke a hole in your doily, and Anita, I wish you could do this with us. You're going to poke a hole in your doily, and you can do this at home in your garden or in the park, and you're just going to go around and pick flowers or grass or anything is fair game. If you want to pick some walnuts off of the tree, and then we're going to go back and see what the plants mean.
Okay. It can be flowers.
It can be anything. It can be all flowers. And I brought some extra flowers because we don't have a whole lot. We've got some echinacea. There's some clippers here or some scissors, or you can just tear them. It doesn't matter. Actually, there's no scissors. I don't know what happened to them. You want to use some. This is coreopsis. And I was really hoping Nancy would come because I wanted to show her what coreopsis looked like. Because it blooms just the regular yellow. Because it blooms all the time. You have, oh, really? Okay. And then you just keep putting your stuff. Now, normally you'd use more herbs. And this is something that you would give to somebody when they leave as a goodbye present.
Oh, that's interesting.
But the thing is, what did I pick? What am I saying? If I was going to give this to you, let's see what I...
Your
oh,
choices
that's pretty.
are, huh?
Oh, I like the astilbe and the lily.
Cool.
All right, we'll wait for Ellie to get back. Red lily.
Yes, I do.
And your lily, scarlet lily, means high-souled aspirations.
Okay.
You have an astilbe, which doesn't mean anything. The astilbe's not in here.
Okay.
Oh, that's unusual. I'm surprised.
Well, I have an echinacea.
You have an echinacea, and that means I'm gonna look under coneflower.
Yeah, that's purple coneflower. It might be under P.
not in here either.
Really?
Yeah, I'm surprised that
And then I have a
you would
columbine.
think.
I think that's columbine. isn't it?
Columbine means what color?
I don't know.
It's not blooming.
It's not blooming.
Well, it could mean united
I
or
like that.
ingratitude.
Oh, I like that too. Let's go in gratitude.
Okay, so that's what what was the first one? The lily?
Mm-hmm.
So you are saying high souled aspirations and ingratitude. I don't know what that's
I'm
saying.
not quite sure what that says. But if that's what you tell me, I'll go along with it.
All right, Ellie.
How pretty they all turned out.
I know they did turn out pretty. You have a daisy, which means simplicity, general simplicity. And I always think of daisies as a happy flower.
Me too.
They are just a happy, cheery flower.
You know
Something
that
about
song,
them.
You Are My Sunshine?
Yes,
It's like, that's what I think of when I look at
I
a
know.
daisy.
I know. They're like a happy flower.
They're happy.
All right. So simplicity. What else does she have? A red lily.
Yeah, she's a red
She
lily.
has a red lily, which we said was
High aspirations.
High aspiration.
high aspirations.
And I put some of the trumpet vine in there.
Trumpet vine, which is, what is the Latin? It might not be in here.
That might not be in there because that's not really a flower.
Trumpet, yeah, trumpet's vine's not in
It's a
here.
vine, yeah.
And
Whatever's growing next to your trumpet vine. No. Thing there with the green. I don't know
those
what that
bellflowers,
one- Oh, is that a bellflower?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, well, that's all we know on that one.
And a marigold.
And a marigold, okay. And marigolds mean pain and grief.
No.
Thank you.
Well, take that baby out of there.
Sorry. That's what I put in mine. And there's a bee on there
Yeah, I
now.
noticed.
Yes,
Pain
there
and
is.
grief. And I had a daisy. Ours are
And
kinda
that bee can
similar.
cause a lot of pain
lot
and
of
grief
pain.
on my body. I know that.
And daisy. So I have contradictory
Yes,
And you have chives.
testimony.
Yes,
Oh, and I
you
have chives, okay. Because mine is pain and grief and happy flower. And
One
chives
counteracts the other one. So
Right.
You're neutral. You're back to neutral again.
means I'm all over the map. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Chives means usefulness.
Oh.
And look, it's useful to that insect right there. And I have some oregano in there also, which means so the lesson of this is, oregano's not in here either. The lesson of your Tussie Mussy is be careful what you give people when they leave for flowers because
Yeah.
you may be insulting them. So
I don't have your list. I'm not going to worry.
that's right.
What
And
was
I'm
the
going to
name
give
of
you
that- What's
this.
the name of that book? You're such a flower person.
And it is
So
really
are you, Anita? Have you read that?
very
I have
interesting.
a small copy of it. I don't have the entire book, but I have like a children's version.
It's really It's a really.
This is a novel.
Really. It's
Oh.
It's a novel. There's actually a story that takes place.
Yeah, it's a story.
And they
Oh,
go
okay.
through like flowers, and she does bouquets.
It's really a
It's a
really
good book.
great book.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it really is a nice story. It's a novel.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I have like I said, it's like a children's book,
Yeah.
and they showed a flower, and then they told what it meant. But I didn't realize it was a novel.
This is a novel, but in the back of the book, it lists all the flowers and what they mean, and it's really it's a nice story.
All right, and so I was going to get the only herbs. I have a lot of herbs at home, and frankly, I only use chives and oregano and lemon thyme. That's about all that I use. What do you guys use?
That's what I was wondering. What do you use the lemon thyme for?
Chicken, fish, and cookies.
Oh.
There's a recipe I have with candied ginger, and they're called garden cookies. And they are lemon thyme fresh. You just pick it and sprinkle it in the batter like a sugar cookie with
Yeah.
lemon thyme
herb.
and candied ginger cut up really small, and you
yummy.
just bake them. They're really, really good.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
Really light and refreshing. They'd be great with lemonade or
Yes.
iced tea. Or
Yeah,
something.
perfect. And then oregano, obviously, and spaghetti and Italian dishes, and that's really all I use. I have lavender, and I don't even pick the flowers half the time. They're just pretty. I like
You
it
can
because it's
infuse
pretty.
that in oil and
Yeah.
make like a scented oil.
You can also make tea and you can have cookies.
Oh yeah, cookies.
You can make cookies with it.
I think the Lavender Festival is going on this week.
Weekend, today and
All
tomorrow.
right. I went a couple years ago and they had lavender mustard. They had hot dogs and lavender mustard. And was it ever good? It was because the bite of the mustard, and then you could taste that like kind of a perfumey lavender, and it was cool because it was purple specks in the mustard. That was really good. Who would think I would not think to do that.
I would never think to do
No,
that.
but it was very good. And
But sage, you have sage?
I don't have any. Do you use it a lot?
I use it a lot. Mine had died after the rainfalls that we've had, but I had purchased some more today even and put it in.
Okay.
And that will stay until November.
Really?
Yes, and so I use it for Thanksgiving turkeys.
Okay.
Everything. It smells wonderful.
Really? I don't have any
Right.
sage. All right. And what do you have in your herb garden? Anything?
Just chives.
Chives, yeah.
And whatever I have, you told me that was oregano that is growing wild.
Yes,
and
you have
not
oregano.
growing
That's
wild.
right. Yeah.
But I don't use it.
Okay.
I don't use oregano. I'm not a spice person.
No.
Spices don't like me,
Okay.
so I don't use them.
I learned the spices mainly because I worked on McCormick and then I worked with Jerky for a long time.
Well,
Oh,
that's a good reason.
So
really?
they gave me so much that I learned to cook with it.
Okay.
That's a good reason.
Yeah.
Where? McCormick where?
McCormick Spice Company, they have merchandisers. The whole country is divided up into different merchandisers and we have a different area that you
Oh, be darned.
did it for a very long time.
Wow. Well, that's pretty impressive. Was it fun?
Yeah. My cupboard's still overly packed. I'm
Really?
sure they've gone not as flavorful as they should, but they look good.
That's all right. They you know what? They just lose some of their potency. But if you put more in,
Exactly. Exactly.
it never goes stale. I mean, they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
Can't hurt you.
And then dill. Last year and the year before, I had dill coming up all on its own. Just a couple sprigs of dill. I never planted it. But for Christmas, I make this. It's a dip with cream cheese, and it's just cream cheese and butter, and I think a little bit of there might be something else in it. And you chop up chives, and it called for freeze-dried chives. So in the spring, I just keep snipping the chives and freeze them just like that, without doing anything, drying them or anything. Just throw them right in the freezer. And then the dill I just chopped up and did the same thing. And then I sprinkled that on the log. You make a log out of that cream cheese and butter, and you mix it up with the chives and the dill, and then you shape it into a candy cane. And then you can put red pepper
red, yeah.
as stripes,
Yeah.
and I've made that every year for just years and years. So I don't grow the dill. I don't know why, because I make it every year. But I do have chives all over. So that's kind of a
I always take my dill and take the feathery portion of the dill, not the
Okay.
head of the dill, put it in a brown paper bag, put a couple holes in the bag so it has air in it, and just hang it up in the garage and let it dry. Then you just break it up and put it into a jar.
oh, okay, that's
And you
good.
got it for
Yeah.
a long time.
And of course the seed if you make dill pickles too.
Oh, true, right.
Right. Yeah, you make pickles.
Good
I
with
use-
cucumbers and sour
I do use
Yeah.
a lot of dill weed, the dried stuff in the jar.
Okay.
I like it with I take sour cream and put the dill weed in the sour cream and use it as like a dip. I dip my salmon in it
Oh,
when I cook salmon.
okay.
It's
good
really
idea.
nice. It's really light and it's just really good with fish. With any
Okay.
kind of fish, really.
That sounds good.
And sometimes cucumbers. I'll just cut up some cucumbers and throw some dill weed and my
Yeah,
cream
dill
of-
and cucumbers seem to go.
Oh yeah, and my
really
cream
well
of potato
together.
soup. When I make cream of potato soup, it's a
Yeah.
must to put some dill weed in there too.
Okay, that sounds good. I grew some paprika last year,
Yeah.
and I was gonna dry it, but it like rotted. I don't know how. I must not have dried. It must have been too moist.
Maybe.
But they look like just a pepper, like a chili pepper, a big chili pepper kind of. They're red. And I couldn't wait to grind them up and see what it was like. And then when I cut it, they were all like kind of moldy inside. So obviously I didn't pick them when they were, at the right time, or maybe I let them go too long.
Maybe.
So I'm going to try that again.
What was that?
Paprika. Or paprika. That's what this girl in Hungary gave us some paprika, she called it.
Okay.
So that's how
She said that her native language.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
She puts her accent on.